Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Pi. For those that don't know, I'm going to be reviewing Love is Blind Season 6, Episode 12. Before I get started, if you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like the video, and leave a comment below. So let's go ahead and get into it. So the last episode left us on a cliffhanger. So we start this episode where the last one ended with um Jimmy asking Chelsea if she is going to say yes at the altar. And Jimmy goes into this whole spiel on how every day Chelsea has been what he would like to see in a wife, but he doesn't know where her head is. So he wants to know, where is she at? What are you going to say? Are we going down? Are we going to get to the altar? And Chelsea takes this long pause, or either they edit it that way. And finally, she was like, I had a bad day yesterday. We had a bad day yesterday because y'all know Chelsea cannot hold herself accountable by herself. She always has to include Jimmy in there. Some kind of way she has to include Jimmy. So she says, but it's been an intense emotional roller coaster with everything that we've been through, highs and lows. And we know that we can get through conflict because we've argued and fuss and fight like cats and dogs, but we've gotten through it. And I'm at a yes right now. Baby, when I tell you, Jimmy said, well, I really, truly love you. However, I can't go to the altar with you. And I'm like, wait, what? Let me rewind this back, because didn't you start this off saying that she's done everything that you would like for a wife to do? Jimmy has done this more than once. He did this with the whole do you want me to take a step back from my friend comment? And she said yes, and he said I'm not willing to do that. Like, this is not the first time Jimmy has done that. I'm like, why does he phrase these questions like this to just go and say the opposite? Like, Jimmy, you're tricking me, because I definitely I didn't see that coming, right? And so y'all know Chelsea was taken aback, and I have got to say, like I just said, I was too. So in her defense, she has a reason to be like, what? So we're not getting married? But of course, Chelsea always flips out and goes ballistic. And so Jimmy is just like, basically, no, we're not going to be able to get married because of, we basically we don't mesh well. You and I don't mesh well. And she's like, we had one argument. And he's like, no, there's several things. And she's like, what things? Like, this is ridiculous. You're just going to throw in the towel because of one argument. That's what marriage is. Like, I love you. Why did you even propose to me? I love you. Why would you even propose to me? Like, this doesn't make any sense. You're wasting my time. You knew today. And in Chelsea's defense, I do feel like you did know today. Why did you have this fantastic date on these roller coasters, doing all this stuff? She said they had just picked out their wedding songs just for you to sit down at dinner tonight and tell me that we're not going to get married. But I do have to respect the fact that at least he told her at Carol Wins versus letting her get down to the altar and all her family and friends and telling her there. So I do have to give him about 4-5 cool points for that one. But I'm just like, what? I am so confused. Like, this is just not making sense to me. And so then finally Jimmy says, after that argument, that last argument, like, that was just it for me. That was just too big of an argument. You told me that I didn't love you. You didn't want to be there. You didn't love me. And finally he says that she crossed the line with his friend with the information that he told her. And so she was like, no, let me interrupt. My feelings were hurt. Chelsea, it doesn't matter if your feelings were hurt or not. If someone tells you something in confidence, whether it's a family, friend, or your significant other, and they specifically say, do not tell anybody this, you're supposed to keep that secret. Like, it doesn't matter if your feelings are hurt. You don't get mad on mad day and just spray the person. And so, that was just it for Chelsea and Jimmy. She wasn't getting it, but I understood. But I still feel like that day that they had, or that night that they had that argument, Jimmy was like done. But he let Chelsea convince him, not convince him, but well, I guess you can't say convince. He let Chelsea manipulate him and cry her way back into continuing on with the relationship. And what he should have done was he should have ended it that night instead of letting it go this far. So, Jimmy, that was not cool. You knew you didn't want to marry her. You should have told her, and y'all wouldn't be here right now. But again, at least he didn't wait until he got down to the altar to embarrass her. So, Chelsea gets up, she walks off, she's crying, she's heartbroken. And that's Chelsea and Jimmy's breakup. Oh yeah, I also forgot to mention that he was also mad about the fact that she had said like 2 or 3 more times that Amy and Johnny were the strongest couple. So remember she said that at the lake, the park. Well, no, that was the lake house when they were all together. So apparently that must have rubbed Jimmy the wrong way. But again, she wasn't lying. So I'm not understanding why he was bothered by that. And when Chelsea tells him, Jimmy says, "You threw my deepest, darkest secret in my face." And she was like, "Your deepest, darkest secret is effing your friend?" And he's like, "Yes, it is. And thank you again for letting me know why I'm making my decision, that I'm making the right decision." Jimmy would be eating Chelsea up low key. So next we see the ladies. They're going to their bridal shower. The guys are going to their bachelor party. And the ladies are like at some little lounge club, some little event space. They are having the time of their life. They dancing. AD is like super happy. It's AD and Amy, the only two brides that are left. We're down from 5 to 2. And AD is so happy. She's dancing, she's smiling, she's showing her ring to the girls. All her friends are there. Amy's friends and family are there, and they're just having the time of their lives. So we see Amy and AD have a conversation about how excited they are. They're getting married. They can't believe it. They're the last two. They're so happy. It's them. And then Amy says how Johnny is like mortified with getting pregnant. And AD is like, "Oh, really? Why is that?" She was like, "Girl, I don't know." She was like, "You on birth control, right?" And Amy's like, "No." And she was like, "Are y'all having sex?" And Amy is like, well, we're doing everything except that. What's everything except that? Does that equal fellatio? Y'all let me know, because I don't know what that means. I guess. I hope it's good, because AD is like, "So you gonna buy the car without test driving it first?" And Amy is like, "We're doing everything except that, so baby, I'm good. I'm getting my rocks off. I'm good to go." And in the confessional, Amy is like, "That girl is spicy. She is definitely effing that man." And I'm like, AD, he was crazy. She's like, "I don't care. I don't care. She is definitely effing that man." So then the guys, they're like at a park or something. They're having beers. They're talking about wondering what the girls are doing. And Claire's like, AD had on some booty shorts or something, he said. And Johnny's like, "Amy too, Amy too." And they're having like a real laid back, chill type vibe. They're playing games. I don't know what the name of that game is when you like throw the like bags in the holes from like one side to the other one. I don't remember the name of that game. I never played it, but that's what they were playing. Then um, Clay and Johnny have a conversation, and they're basically like saying the same things that AD and Amy were talking about. But the only difference is Johnny is talking about how 100% that he is in this and ready to be a husband. And he's been that way since day one. And Clay starts with his whole, AD, like, I love how we are together. I love how she makes me feel. She validates me. The same things he says over and over and over again. And it came to my mind today. Clay is in sales, so he probably has rehearsed this script in his head, and he just keeps on saying it over and over again, because I feel like he says the same thing over and over again. He's literally gonna say it in this episode at least 10 times in like 10 different situations. Clay, you got to stop that, because it's giving rehearsed. So it's time for AD and Clay's wedding. AD arrives in all white, cute little tank top with the white shorts. She was looking so cute on her dark skin. And she goes into her little room and puts her dress up, and she's just, just taking it all in. She's so excited. It's her day. Then once her bridal party gets there, and then she really starts getting excited. She's getting her hair done, her makeup done. They're just talking, and they're all giddy and happy. Then her mother shows up, and her mom is like, I just met somebody. And AD like, who you just met? And she was like, Clay's mother. And AD was like, oh, okay. Like, how that went? Because I know that went well. Because, like, y'all is, like, basically two peas in a pie, like the same person. And AD's mother was like, I really like Clay's mom. She is cool. Like, that lady is real. Like, she is. Like, I really love the way that she was talking to me about you. Like, I loved it. Of course, I already knew everything that she was saying, but just hear her say it and the way she was saying it, it just really touched my heart. And I really do like Clay's mom. I like AD's mother too. AD had just like her mama. When her mom came in and she was like, I just met with Clay. I was like, she had just like AD. That's where AD get it from. She had just like AD, Lord have mercy. AD acts just like her. She had just like her mother. But yeah, I really do like Clay's mom. I think she is really sweet, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But I do like Clay's mom a lot. So I don't remember, or they didn't show whose voice it was while AD was getting her makeup done. Somebody asked her, do you think Clay is going to be a good husband? And she said, yes, I think he's going to be a good husband and a good daddy because he protects and provides. He's providing and protecting. And I'm trying to figure out, did they cut that part out? Because I didn't see it. The man don't even come home. So how is he protecting? He don't even know if somebody gonna break in the house. So the camera pans over to Clay, and he is in his suite, or whatever you want to call it. His brothers, his friends show up, and they are getting dressed. They look handsome. One of his brothers asked him, I think it was Langston, if he's ready. And in Clay fashion, he goes into the whole spiel of, yes, I'm ready for this because AD has just made me to be so, more mature, and I've grown so much in this experience, and she's been so patient with me. And I'm like, oh my God, do we have to sit through this again? And the way they just were sitting there looking at him like, Lord have mercy. I could see on some of their faces, they was like, if you say so, but we're going to go along with it. For the show, for the TV, we just going to go along with it, child. Just roll with the punches. And so one of his friends says, like, yeah, I see how much you matured. And I'm like, BS. But okay, I digress. So finally, Clay's daddy shows up. And when he walks in the door, they just giving each other compliments. Oh, you look so fresh. Doing all this. And I'm like, camera, I need you to zoom in straightforward on that face. I need to see this man, because we done heard so much about how suave and all those ladies that he done had. I needs to see that man front view, please and thank you. And when they finally do, I'm like, I know this ain't what we've been waiting on. This little milk dud head man. I mean, he doesn't look bad, but that I wasn't expecting that. Did Clay's dad look the way y'all thought he was gonna look? Cause he didn't look the way that I thought he was gonna like be given like Denzel, you know, but he wasn't. He was given more like Samuel. He was given more like Samuel instead of Denzel. So yeah, anyway, when he finally, stops with all of the compliments, both of them, they're like one and the same. Like it's bananas, right? So he starts talking about, track and field and how he remembers how good he was, and him and Clay used to compete, and then one day Clay beat him, and Clay was like, yeah. I was like, dang, I must be getting real good, or you must be out of shape. And his daddy was quick. He's like, oh, I wasn't out of shape. Oh, I wasn't out of shape. You had just got that good, and I was just so happy because I was all American high school, all American college, Olympics. And is this Clay Daddy show, or are we on Love Is Blind? Because you're doing a little bit too much right now, sir. So into who, and then finally, after he starts boosting his head up, both of their heads up or whatever, he was just like, basically he's just proud that his child is successful, and he's happy to see that, which I can understand. All a parent want is for their kids to be successful, like to be successful and happy. That's all we want as parents. So I totally understood that. A problem with his daddy is, in this moment, I felt like he could have given Clay some better advice than what he gave him. Because what he tells him is, I've always shared with y'all the things that your grandmother told me, because I didn't have my father in my life. And I remember one of the things that your grandmother told me was that you need to make sure that you're good to your wife and take care of your kids. And he says, oh, I wasn't even worried about the kids part. That comes naturally. So taking care of your wife don't come naturally? Being good to your wife doesn't come naturally, sir? And why are you saying that in front of to your son? It's statements like that I feel like Clay has heard his whole life, and even probably a million times even worse. And this is why Clay has the issues, the mental issues from childhood that he has, because of this man. And we're going to get a little bit deeper into it later on at the wedding. So we see Clay in the confessional, and he is talking about how his dad was married to his mom, I think he said, for 23 or 24 years, and he always cheated on his mother. And he just wants to know, was he in love the whole time? Because it just doesn't, he's like trying to make sense of it. And he was like, that's like a really big deal to me. But with that being said, he doesn't ask him. He only says this in the confessional. And he's saying how, his dad was always so suave and he always looked up to him, and he just needs to know that from him. And I'm like, so why don't you ask him? Or maybe he did and they cut it out. I don't know. But I really thought that that's what we were going to get in this moment, and we didn't get it. And his dad just basically gave him, helped him put his jacket on, gave him a hug, told him he loved him, and walked on out the door to the wedding. So next we see Clay and his mother, and they are getting ready to go through the gates to walk down the aisle. And his mom, they always have that moment right before they walk in where they talk to the daughter, the son, whoever it is that, is walking in. And his mom says, I want you to just yield to your feelings, because when you see AD come down the aisle, you're going to get super emotional. I don't know what it is, but it's a feeling that it's unexplainable, and you're going to get emotional. But I want you to know that I support you 100%. I feel like his mom knew that he was going to say no. I feel like she wanted him to say yes, because I feel like she really likes AD. But I think she said, she wanted him to say yes because she really likes AD. but she knew that he was going to say no because she knows her son. And so that's why she gave him that piece of advice. She was like, just, lean into those feelings. And I was like, mm-hmm. So they open up the gates, they walk down the aisle, they look great. AD's mom is sitting out there, and Clay and Clay's mother both acknowledge her, and he goes up on the stage and he was like, I look good, y'all. And AD mom, of course, she's talking about, yeah, she look amazing. He was like, I like a husband. And child, I was like, so now it's time for AD to walk down the aisle. And when I tell you, I was like, why is AD walking down this aisle by herself? I know her father passed, rest in peace, but did she say something about her brothers? Clay brought it up. They mentioned brothers because that's what they were talking about when they were in Dominican Republic. Is it Puerto Rico or Dominican Republic? I think they was in Dominican. Wherever they was, the PR, the DR. That's where, when they were in the DR, they were talking about like not having a traditional wedding, and she could have her brothers walk her down the aisle because they were so close. So where were the brothers? I'm a little confused. But I did not like AD walking down the aisle by herself. I felt like her mama should have walked down the aisle with her at least. Like, it was very like cold feeling. It wasn't warm. And even the way she was walking like this, like she wasn't even relaxed. Like, I didn't like it. So when she finally gets to Clay, he helps her up. He act like he didn't want to. He helps her. He reaches his hand out, child. He couldn't come from up off the stage and help her. He reaches her hand out from the stage and helped her up the stairs. And he told her for the very first time that I recall that she looked beautiful. And of course, child, she was just eating that up. She was like, yeah. And so they get ready to go into their vows. And Clay says, we came to this experience to get married sight unseen, and AD, I was not having that, right? And she was like, yeah. And he was like, but when I kind of moved past it, and then when the doors opened and I saw you for the first time, I was like, okay, I can work with that. You can work with that. This man says anything out his mouth, and it just goes right over AD head. I would have been like, what do you mean you can work with that? AD looks amazing. Like, I need him to stop. Like, she should have, well, not at the wedding, but we would have had a conversation later about that. So, of course, quite naturally, he goes into how she's helped him to be a better man and just how resilient she's been through this whole process. And, that's basically why he's there with her and loves her, because of her resilience. So now it's AD's turn to speak. And she starts off by saying, ever since they had their connection in the pods, her life hasn't been the same. When I tell you the declaration that AD gave for this man, to this man, was just like, she loves how he's funny and they have a great time together. And she loves how strong he is and the man that he is. I mean, just saying all these great attributes about him. What he should have been saying about her. He never talks about, AD, I love you because you are smart. You are motivational. You're such a good person. You have a big heart. You're kind. He never talks about that stuff. You help me to do this. You help me to do that. It's what she can do for him is why he loves her. He never talks about why he loves her for her. And that's one of my biggest problems with Clay. Like, I don't think he's ever, the only time he ever talked about AD like that is when she said that she doesn't feel worthy of love when they were in the DR. And he was like, you're amazing, you're this and the third. And he finally started reading everything off, right, off his list. But he doesn't do that when he talks to her or to other people about her. I don't know why. And I want her to ask him why. Why? Love is Blind, Nick. Well, they done already recorded the reunion. Sweet baby Jesus. It is now time for the pastor to ask the couples, are y'all going to get married? But before he does that, let me read a Bible verse. And that Bible verse is, lean not unto your own understanding. Do we not know any other Bible verses? Did your mama not give you no other Bible verses? Or is that the only one that you can remember? Because we done heard this Bible verse 3 times. Listen, it's a great Bible verse. But please, I don't want to hear it no more on this show. No more. Find another one. So the pastor says, Amber, do you take Clay to be your husband? And of course, she says, I do. And did y'all pay attention to how the music changed when it came time for Clay? That was like the most, what's the word? It was giving me anxiety. Like, I was like, it was so intensified. I'm like, oh my gosh, the music totally changed. And he asked Clay the same question. And of course, Clay said, anytime somebody starts with a speech, you already know. You know, this has been a great, I said, oh Jesus, here we go. This has been a great experience, but it would be irresponsible for me to say I do today. What? Not the way you were just asking the people, did you look like a husband? You just asked these people 4 or 5 seconds ago if you look like a husband. You was just talking to your brothers and your friends a minute ago, talking about how ready you was because, AD had put a diaper on you and, grew you up. Huh? No. But let me say this. At least he didn't say yes and he wasn't ready to say yes. It broke my heart to see AD's heart get broken at the altar, right? He could have pulled a Jimmy and said we can't go to the altar. But I'm like, wow. I just hate how when they get to the altar and they go into these long drawn out, oh, you're this, you're that, da 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 da. I don't want to marry you. What? I know you lied. I know you lied. You got me all dolled up. Baby, you got my Christian Louboutins on. They're not even red on the bottom no more. Because I had to walk down this carpet, down these rocks out here. And you gonna tell me no? She should have beat him with them flowers like Carrie did Big on Sex in the City. That's what she should have did. No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. I'm really not, though. She should have. But the kicker is, after he says it would be irresponsible for him to say yes, she's just like, what? Like, oh my God. Like, she's taking it all in. And like, she's just like, I cannot believe this is happening. Like, what's going on? Like, what are you saying? And he was like, I know you're going to fight for me. And he is still with this fighting for him BS. Baby, we're not going to be together. Remember the last time you brought, because he was like, why does the date matter? What do you mean? Why does the date matter? That's the whole reason why we're here. We're here because we're supposed to be getting married. We're supposed to be building a connection, sight unseen, right? Emotional connection. Then we see each other physically. Then we live together. Then we come and we get married. That's why the date matters, because that's what Love is Blind said. Can you read? You went to college, didn't you? Ain't you all-American? Claire, now pissed me off. So AD leaves. She walks out with her mom and, her sisters and all her family. She goes back to her suite and she's crying. Of course, she's heartbroken. She's just like, I just need to second y'all. Like, he done wasted my damn time. Like, I'm pissed. And so we see Clay and he's talking to his mom and she's just like, I just want to make this crystal clear. Like, if you are not 100%, you don't cross that line. You don't say I do. And I totally agree with her 100%. That's why I felt like his mama already knew that he wasn't going to say yes. And then his dad comes over and mom kind of walks away, right? And so his dad is like, don't worry about that. He was like, no, because I feel good about my decision. I feel good about my decision. And his dad is over there saying some bull crap. Child, I tuned out. I ain't even listen to that crap his daddy was saying, because his daddy get on my doggone nerves with that milk dud head. So anywho, what? Look, he done pissed me off. He done pissed me off. I done got mad. I done forgot what happened next. Next, he starts talking in the package about why he couldn't marry AD. And he makes some snide comments saying that he really didn't get into the finances and he brushed it off. And her finance wasn't looking right. And I'm like, is this new? Because I've never heard this before. AD does real estate, and then she does management or something at a nightclub. Well, I'm confused. We need to get more into. I need more context. Did they cut something out? Because I don't remember that. Y'all tell me if I missed it, but I don't remember anything about any finances. I know he said that she wasn't working just yet when they had got back, but that's all I knew. And then he was like, "Am I madly in love? No." So if those things don't line up, you don't get married. I 100% agree, but you could have been said something. So he asked his dad, should he go talk to her? And his dad says yes. He goes and he talks to her, and he's like, "How are you?" And she's like, like, that's a heck of a question to ask somebody that you just jilted at the wedding, or you said you don't. I do not. SK at the wedding. And he's like, I know it feels like I'm rejecting you right now, but that's not it at all. Like, I want to be 100%. You deserve from me. You deserve someone that's going to be 100%. Like, you wouldn't want me. You would not want me to be that type of husband or like be with you if I was like that. She's just like, yeah, you're right. You're right. She's shaking her head. I'm just like, listen to what he's saying, because all this stuff is true, because you do need this, because AD does have some insecurity issues. You do need this to resonate in your head, but that doesn't mean that you need to give him another chance. It's over for him, baby. Cut him off. That's it. That's it. We're done. Over, finito. But what he's saying is true. You do need someone that's going to give you 100%. And so he was like, so he was like, "Can I get a hug?" So she was like, "Yeah." So she hugged him, and he kissing her, and I'm like, "Girl, you supposed, child, I've been pushing. Stay back. Don't kiss me, please. I wouldn't even give his ass. I don't even think I gave him a hug. Don't kiss me. You can talk to me from right there. That's good. We don't need to be that close. No." And so she was like, "What am I supposed to do now?" And he was like, "What you mean? What you think I'm gonna leave? You gonna have to change. You gonna have to get rid of me." Something he said to that. This is not a game, Clay. This is not a game. And so she was just like, I feel like, you're saying that you grew so much from this, and I've done this and done this, that, and the third to help you become this better man, but I feel like the sacrificial lamb in all of this, because what did I get out of it? I did all this for nothing, basically. And that's one of AD's problems. She is like this person who always wants to build somebody up, and you can't do that, because she's crying and she's saying, like, I always put so much into these relationships, and it just never works out. And see, that's the problem. You're putting too much into the relationship. Let somebody put something into you more next time. So she finally, tells him that he has to leave. He turns around to him, I don't want to go. Boy, get your behind up out of here. So Clay's mom and dad are outside, and they're talking, and she's letting him know that Clay really wants to be in a long-term relationship. She said the reason why he didn't get married is because of you. He carried all what he has heard and seen to that altar with him today, and that's why he didn't get married. And you need to have that conversation and take that ownership and accountability, and let him know, so he can release that. He can be free from that, because he's carrying all that on him. And his mom was like, I learned some things today that I never even knew about. She was like, I ain't your wife no more, but this is like news to me. And I'm glad he did at least tell her before she saw it on TV, because that was like one of my biggest fears. Like, oh Lord, he talking about his daddy used to take him here, there, and everywhere. When he used to go off with his concubines, And his mama didn't know that. So I'm glad that he actually did tell her before this aired. And the daddy was like, so she was like, yeah, he wants to be, in a relationship. And he was like, well, tell him just to find a woman like you. I found you. What? And she's like, baby, let's be real clear. You did find me, but you weren't good to me. When I tell you his daddy couldn't say nothing, he just hung his head and was like, yeah, like, you're right. I wasn't. She was like, but we're not going to talk about that. I was like, get him, girl. Eat him up. Get him. I want her to get him even more. So next we get to Amy and Johnny's wedding. And y'all, I ain't gonna even lie. I watched it, but I didn't like watch it. Because, these two, they just have the happily ever after edit wedding life. Like, they really had no problems. We see Amy, she's in her suite. She's getting dressed with her sister. Was it her sister? Her family was in there, and I know one of Johnny's sisters was in there with her because she's like, I got my future sister-in-law here with me. And then we see Johnny, and he has his friends, his brother, his sister, and they're all getting ready, and they're talking about how him and Amy got really, really deep in the pods because the friends were asking, like, was it the same in the pods? And he's like, man, we talked about everything. Like, we talked about miscarriages and just anything you can think of under the sun, we discussed it. And, that's how we built that connection, and she's basically the one. Like, that's how I know. So then Amy's dad and her mom arrives. Her dad walks in and she's still getting her makeup done. He gives her a hug. When she jumps up and gives him a hug, she's clearly a daddy's girl. And he says, is this you still yes? Is this still a yes? Have you changed your mind? And she's like, no, my decision is still the same. He was like, okay, cool. And so he's talking to Johnny's sister, and he was just saying how he was so against this experience, but ever since he sees how happy that Amy is, he has changed his mind. And I'm glad that he was able to change his mind about it. And I'm glad that we at least got one good couple out of this. Like, I guess love is truly blind for some. So Johnny's parents arrive, and I think this is the first time we've seen them. I don't think we saw them before because we met his siblings, but I don't think we saw his parents. So they arrive and they're just talking to him and just, making sure that he's ready to do this. And he's like, he's ready to do it. And dad is like, marriage is like one of the hardest jobs ever, but it's also one of the funnest jobs ever. So, as long as you're ready to put the work in, y'all are going to be okay. As long as you love each other, y'all are going to be good. And we see Amy's dad and her brother is there. She has a real close relationship with her brother, and they both walk her down the aisle. And in their packages, well, actually, when they are at the altar and Amy says, never in 27 years of my life would I think that I would fall in love with someone behind a wall, but getting to know you in your soul. And she said, I love your soul. And then Johnny said, I love you too. She said, I'm excited to see what's next. And then there was like a long pause. So I thought Johnny was about to say his vows, and he said, I can't wait. And then that was it. I was like, that's all his vows. That was all his vows. But it was cute. And so they kissed and they got married, and then they went off into their reception. And that was the show, child. So we had one wedding again this year. We had one last year. Well, one marriage this year. How many weddings did we have last year? I think we had two. Do we? I can't even remember. Oh, my mind bad. I know that Milton got married last year to old girl that I can't stand. I can't even Lydia. Oh Lord. Oh, that's right. Izzy and Stacy had a wedding. So I think it was two weddings last year, but one marriage. So I think it was basically the same thing this year. Two weddings and one marriage. So anyways, yeah, that was the episode, y'all. Um I don't know. I mean, I enjoyed. How did you like the season overall? I enjoyed the season overall. The episode was a like it. It wasn't a lot that happened, but it was a lot that happened. If that makes sense. Like this was like an emotional packed episode. Like there was a lot of emotions flying everywhere. So I think the episode was good. I think the season was really good, much better than last season. Although it was like a lot of toxic stuff going on and like a lot of social media drama and stuff like that, it was still a good season. So I can't wait for the reunion. Do y'all think that Amy and Johnny are still going to be together at the reunion? And do you think that Clay and AD made up and are dating? Because she claimed that it was over. So what do y'all think? And I also heard that Jessica is dating, is his name Ariel, something like that. It's Ariel. I think it's Ariel. He was like the real tall dude. He had like a bun. Matter of fact, his hair looked like mine, except he had a bad part. But he had like a little bun up there at the top. He has a beard. She was on the Vow Files. I don't know if y'all watch Nick Viles, but she was on the Vow Files. I watched it today. And she didn't say that she was dating him, but she was giving like context clues. And so, I went and did me a little search and I kind of discovered, like I did like a process of elimination. And I think that's who she was dating because they were talking about Jimmy and they were asking her, like, when you saw Jimmy, what did you think? Like, was he your type? And she was like, no, he wasn't my type or whatever. And so she was explaining what her type was. She said basically tall, dark, and handsome. She loves a guy with a beard. She loves a guy with tats. And so I think that's who she is dating. Because she said that was her other connection in the pods. Why don't they be showing us more of these people connections? Especially if somebody has like a storyline like Jessica did. They should at least show us her other connection. I don't think that was fair to him. Like, I don't know why they do that. But anyways, I cannot wait to see the reunion. I can't wait to see Sarah Ann and Jeremy and Laura. Like I'm just ready to see everybody. I can't wait. So before y'all get out of here, don't forget to subscribe, like the video. If you like the video, and share the video, and leave some comments down below. Let me know who y'all are excited to see at the reunion and how you think the reunion is gonna be. So until the next time, see y'all. Bye.